You work on some sort of dream for 2 years of what you want it to be. And then there's this moment where the dream turns into reality.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boys, a swim run podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 180 of the show. We've got an inspirational one for everyone this week. We're joined by Claudia Glass, the co-founder of Swijin, to chat about her new company that is taking the swimrun world by storm. By storm, I tell you.
It has.
But that's not even the best part. Claudia had a dream, she chased it, and is achieving it, all while doing right by everyone that's involved in it. It's truly a great story. I mean, it's actually a really great story. We're not just saying that. And we can't wait to share it with all of you.
But first, training update. So we had some swimrun rust, and it's since been busted. We went and busted it.
And we talked about this. It wasn't as rusty as it could have been.
As expected, yeah.
It could have been way rustier.
Yeah, I got a chance to try out my new simple mount that you've been hearing everyone ranting and raving about. We got the Adidas Terex 240s out. We got the new. Chris was rocking the Corp, the Corp 2 wetsuit.
Worked great.
It was great. I had the Uto on. We had a good time out there.
Exploring.
We scoped a new spot out. Mm-hmm. So we got a little mutual friend thank you for the access. We'll just say that. Much appreciated. It's nice to get out, go swim running again.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're headed right towards just a matter of a few weeks here.
Yeah.
Ödyssey Swimrun Casco Bay on July 9th.
It's going to be awesome.
Maine.
It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I think it's actually going to be a pretty regular training ground for us.
Yes.
You're supposed to live there, and the wonderful woman, Kelly, who gave us access, she was like, I'll just leave the door open and you can go off our dock. But we only did that once because we're a couple of swim runners.
Yeah.
There's plenty of little random spots.
But we were, it was great swimming, and there's a whole, it was just a really nice place. I did get some comments on, thank you so much for keeping the Strava file to one file. So I'm a changed person, so if you had unfollowed me during my swimrun uploads, you can refollow me because I'm just post my swimruns as one run.
I feel like this is the year where you're just like, all right, I'm just going to embrace some of the stuff that Chris has been doing from the beginning, like the simple mount, not using the swimrun function.
I don't know. What else am I going to do? I mean, if Garmin, if they
figured it out,
it's actually not Garmin. It's if Strava figured it out and just made multi-sport
That's
one
right,
event.
Because Garmin Connect shows that it's one thing.
Garmin has it figured out. It's Strava's problem. So sorry, Garmin, for the misguided anger. Strava?
Looking at you.
We're looking at you. We'll be talking to you a little bit later. Now, for this week's shout-outs.
Yeah, so this week we're shouting out everyone that attended the Nene Park Swimrun Festival this past weekend, put on by our friends at Keenan as Mustard Events. We love them.
Wonderful folks.
We heard all about the great vibes by one of our longtime friends and listeners, Bill and Chrissy Langford, aka Team Mr. and Mrs. B. They mentioned how it was a very different crowd to the Attila World Series race, with distances from 5K all the way up to 39K, with a lot of people just trying the sport out for the first time or building up their skill sets. Even though it's on the edge of Peterborough, the course takes you into the countryside and mostly uses the River Nene, which has some tricky entrances and exits, and is a challenging swim upstream. Running is on the footpaths, fields, and graded paths, according to Mr. and Mrs. B, and this is an opinion which
I hold in high regard.
Oh, yeah.
Very high regard.
The highest.
Yeah.
They rated the courses highly. It's ringing endorsement in our book.
That's a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for Mr. and Mrs. B for sending in that little nugget for us. Much appreciated. We love the folks as keen as mustard. Now for the wisdom nugget of the week.
Speaking of nuggets.
When we first begin fighting for our dreams, we have no experience and make many mistakes. The secret of life, though, is to fall 7 times and get up 8 times. Paulo Coelho.
Yeah, this is from the book The Alchemist, which I was recently talking to Mara Farley about it. Mm-hmm. And I usually read it once a year, but it just got me thinking about it since we were talking about it. So, I was like, oh, man, this is a quote I think about actually a lot. You know, it's like, it's not about falling down. It's not how many times you fall down. You just got to get up just that one more time.
Yeah. I'm here for it. It's good. And you're going to fall over during a swim run. Just
You're
get
falling.
up, keep going.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more applicable. Now for this week's feats of endurance. This week's winner goes to our friend of the pod, Alex Segal, Steven's brother, for racing the 112th edition of the Dipsey race. It was a lovely day to race a bunch of kids, pro trail runners, hikers, and some seniors on the oldest trail race in the United States.
Yeah, it's a doozy. I did this race 2 years in a row, and then they moved the date, so I always follow my daughter's birthday weekend.
That's tough to make.
But yeah, it's a really kooky, random, the oldest trail race in America. I mean, it's weird.
They have this is the Dipsey, and then they even have
there's a double
Dipsey, and then if you're really diabolical, the quad Dipsey.
Yeah, even to sign up, you have to mail in an application and send a check. Like,
I'd have to, first of all, get a checkbook.
Yeah, speaking of Alex Segal, like 1 year he wrote me a check because I didn't have checks. I don't want to have to go to the bank because I haven't written a check since 2005.
He floated it. Wait, he didn't float a check. That's illegal, I think.
Oh, he just made a check for me. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I was like, I Venmoed him and he went old school for me. It was
nice.
Great.
Way to kick it old school, and congrats, Alex, on your completion of the Dipsey race. Make sure to head on over to Strava, search the Low Tide Boys, and join the Strava Club, the Low Tide Boys Strava Club, that is, for swim runners around the world as they train for stuff like the Dipsey race or Ödyssey Casco Bay, amongst other things. Now, we would normally be throwing it to this week in swim run, but we're on a hiatus. Is it a hiatus?
Yeah, sure, for a week.
For a week. This week in swim run, to be continued next week. Now for a little bit of show business.
Yeah, so last week we shared all of our grand plans for Casco Bay, and true to form, we're changing some of them. Didn't take long. We are actually going to bow out from hosting a shakeout because we found out that Nicholas Ramirez from Umwelt Coaching is going to be in town from Sweden and will be hosting a shakeout clinic at noon on Saturday, July 8th. So we're like, hey, you know what? Have at it, Haas.
Yeah.
So if you're in town and you want to do a shakeout, also attend a clinic with Nicholas Ramirez, who's also racing on Sunday, which will be super cool.
Nice.
Head over to East End Beach. So mark your calendars there. And we also mentioned that we were going to be doing a Patreon luncheon. Well, we're turning that into Patreon brunch. And we're going to plan to meet at 10 a.m. Near the ferry terminal so that everyone who does want to do a shakeout can go do that.
There's time for both.
Totally. And then finally on Sunday, July 9th, we will still be hosting our third annual Post Race Party at 6 p.m., and that's going to be at the Brickyard Hollow, which is located on 9 Commercial Street, which is close to the ferry terminal. It's the place we went last year. They have food and stuff. I think we ended up showing up at like 5 and just eating until people showed up or something last year. So, yeah.
That was a good time. You can't wait to do all those things.
Yeah.
All good things. Now, you don't need to be on the texting basis with the boys to get the hookup on the precision fuel and hydration before your Casco Bay or whatever race you might doing. This is a real life story.
Yeah, this is a true story.
Hey, boys, what's the code for the precision fuel and hydration?
And we're like go listen to episode 168.
We got it on there. The kind folks at Precision Fuel and Hydration, they're making it easy for y'all. They're giving you 15% off your first order. Use the code LOWTIDE23. That's off your first order. We also have a link in the show notes. So 15% off your first order with that email address.
Yeah, get ready for Casco.
Absolutely. I will
sort it out.
I think some things I'm going to bring into Casco. I'm going to bring a calf gel, a couple of those jumbo 90s, and a couple of those salt tabs. Those are things I've been using, and we've been talking about our fueling and hydration for a while here. But we love the precision fuel and hydration stuff. Now you can save.
But they also have it on the course, so I'm actually this is the one race where I'm not carrying 30 gels because they're going to have what I'm going to take. Yeah,
so it's a good opportunity to if you race more than one Ödyssey race. This is their sponsor as well, so you can make sure to use what they use on course sponsorship. And then also they have a really cool free online race nutrition like planning tool. You go in, you put your sweat rate, how long your event is for, and how like your intensity, and they'll provide you a recommendation. I actually used this tool for our 50K race that we did. I put in how much I thought we were going to go, and it spit me out, actually, I must say, almost exactly what I brought with me. So you know it works. Low Tide 23, save 15% off your first order there.
Yeah. So we mentioned last week that we had an idea for an episode called When Life Imitates Memes, and we need your help. We just want to hear your funniest, craziest swimrun race stories, and we want that to send us a DM or an email of an audio clip of your experience. And what we're going to do, we're going to air it on the show and just, pick 4 or 5 that are just super funny and share them.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to this conversation with Claudia Glass.
Oh, my God.
The co-founder of Swijin.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be hyperbolic, but this is probably one of the coolest stories that we've shared on the show.
Great.
Claudia shared the origin story for Swijin and how she turned an idea that came during a run on her honeymoon in Mallorca and turned it into a business that's really trying to do everything right. Like most successful origin stories, there's a lot of passion, some serendipity, and just a ton of hard work. We don't want to spoil it, but if you're not rooting for this brand after listening to this interview, you should probably listen to it again.
And then again.
I'm just saying.
Pump the numbers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and one thing that we didn't touch on during the interview was where the name came from, and so she emailed us that, and it was such a cool story. So it was inspired by the Shinto goddess of clean water, Swijin, and she switched out the U for a W for swimrun, Switzerland, and Sweden, which makes sense.
Nice.
And what I think what we can now say is a classic Claudia move. She was worried about cultural appropriation, so she contacted a Shinto priest in Kyoto, and he not only gave her his full blessings, but encouraged her to come and pray at this temple in Kyoto next time she's in Japan. So,
whenever she goes over to Japan next,
exactly. Just stop on by.
Yeah, just cruise on by Japan.
Yeah, but this was, this was awesome.
It was a great interview. I was inspired by it. I was highly motivated by the conversation and just everything she says. You're like, she's just doing it the right way.
Totally.
And it's just great to see that and really making sure she's putting an excellent product out in the world, not one that's going to just function for a little bit, that has a complete life cycle and lots of environmentally friendly things as well.
Yeah.
Really a great conversation with Claudia, and we're pretty confident you're going to enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
So, also if you're looking Swijin, links in the show notes there onto the website. But without any further ado, let's swim right in to our conversation with Claudia Glass, co-founder of Swijin.
Okay, very excited to welcome the founder of the newest brand that's taken over the swimrun world, Swijin. Welcome to the show, Claudia Glass.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Very excited. I've been listening to your podcast, so it's nice to be a guest.
Well, it's very nice to have you. You came onto our radar through a mutual friend, one person who we dearly love, Annie Molesbury of the Swimrun Labs, and she's been talking about your products, and she's been talking about how she's been testing it. So, for folks who don't know, can you explain to us sort of the origin story of Swijin?
Yes. So originally what happened is I was on summer vacation, and every morning I started my run down to the ocean in just a regular sports bra and running shorts. And when I arrived at the ocean, I was so hot and sweaty, and I thought, it would be so lovely just to jump in and run right into the ocean and keep swimming and then come back out and run back home. And the second day I had a bikini in my hand, so I, had to change behind a tree and started to realize that it would be really cool if a product like this existed. And I visualized like a sports bra with a biker short to do this with. And shortly after I returned from vacation, I discovered swimrun as a sport because I thought it should be called that. Is there such a thing? Swimrun. And that's...
You're like, I have a great idea name for a sport here.
Yeah, I have a great name for a sport that should exist, right? So then I contacted Ödyssey, and they said to me, in fact, our swim runners really need a bra because they're suffering. And so I was put in touch with Maria Roman from Wild Swim Run, suggested that we send a survey, which we had 75 women answered, 75 female swim runners. And we were just trying to isolate exactly what their pain points were. And it came down to, of course, quick drying behavior is important, thermoregulations, because sometimes it's too hot, otherwise too cold, and support. But also the chafing issue was something that we identified that they really needed help with, because under the wetsuit, the bras chafe, and oftentimes at the end of a race, women are literally bleeding. The blood's running down, and there's just a lot of scabs and wounds. And so Josephine Jungwirth was always showing us her scabs from her products. And so really that's our biggest differentiator, I would say, from other sports bras, but also requires a great amount of skill to produce.
Yeah. So I mean, what I find really fascinating is, it's half the population of the planet is women. There's people running with breasts all over the place, and there's companies that obviously make sports bras and all these things. Why do you think, Claudia, that no one was asking? Well, of course, in the swimrun context, it's super niche or whatever, but it seems like there hasn't been a really great sports bra on the market that does these sort of multiple purposes. Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I should say.
Yeah.
Good point.
I don't know, because if you think about it, like multi-sports, right? We would all like the flexibility, especially I think after Corona, to put on that one outfit in the morning, especially women, and not change throughout the day. And so as I was getting the prototypes and testing them myself, I was realizing just the amount of freedom that had. I could get up in the morning. I ran down to the lake with my dog, went in for a swim. He swims too. And by the time I got back home, really in 15 minutes, it was so dry that I could just sit down in my office chair and get straight to work. And I would wear this all day long. And I thought, oh, this is really nice. The benefit of how we're making the product too, I think sports brands, I went to sports brands with the idea, and a very famous German sports brand, and presented this and said, hey, why aren't we making something like this for women? And basically they said, because it's very expensive to make this, and we wouldn't be able to do it. Like, it doesn't fall within our wheelhouse. And I thought, well, if women really felt this on and knew what it would do, I think they'd be willing to invest in this one very important product. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you, I love your sort of approach to things, and surveying your target market is, business kind of 101 stuff. Do you have a background in garment design and things like that, or where does your background lie that you sort of were able to have such a solid process?
So actually, I spent my career as a high school English teacher.
Oh.
And earlier in my life, I was a runner. And I think I've always had this feeling within me that I really wanted to start a business, but never had the business idea. And after having taught high school literature and poetry, I wanted to do something that I could touch physically, that I would bring to market. I wanted a physical product. And so actually was thinking about what it could be while I was swim running that day in Mallorca. And so it was funny, because I'm like, actually, I'm experiencing the problem I need to solve right now. So here's the idea.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to swim run and get to know the community. It's just such a lovely, beautiful group of women in the Wild Swim Run group. But generally, I felt like the people and the mentality of the people, like it's my tribe. So it's also been really fun that way. So after I came back, I started to research how could one make, I thought about how a textile could dry quickly, and realized that I needed help to make this product, and possibly it didn't exist because it's impossible to make it. I didn't know. And Switzerland is known for being highly innovative. And so I found the Division of Biomimetic Membranes and Textiles at the Swiss Federal Laboratory for Materials Science and Technology. And I really cold emailed them and said, my name is Claudia. I'm trying to invent this product. Can you help me? And, they make spacesuits, so I didn't expect them to reply, but they did. They did. And we had a short talk, and they came back to me and said they were interested in pursuing this, that they found it to be fascinating and that they think they could help me. And so we applied to the Swiss Innovation Agency for a grant because a project like this runs over 2 years. It's highly complex. They build, running dummies and have athletes come in and run in climactic chambers. And so it's all very scientific and exciting. And there's textile engineers and sports physiologists involved. Amazing. And without their help, I could have never done this, of course. And then also I had a really wonderful mentor from the Swiss textile industry who sort of helped guide me to the right people, opened the right doors, and made connections. So I was driving to many textile manufacturers in Europe and visiting them and seeing what they could offer, and sort of you have to bring all these players to the table. We did a 2-day workshop in St. Gallen at the Swiss Federal Laboratories, where we did this design thinking workshop, and we brought industry players to the table. And we're like, okay, we're trying to make this product for these swim runners. Here's their pain points. We had recordings of swim runners explaining what their problems were. And then they went and did a design thinking workshop for 2 days. And we started to develop a whole new textile after that. It's been really fun, new learning curve.
That is amazing.
What an awesome experience that you got to have.
You know what it reminds me of? So New Zealand has this as well. And when the shoe company Allbirds was coming online, they wanted to use a special kind of wool. And New Zealand has a whole same thing, like an institute just for like advanced uses of wool, since they're the number one exporter of wool for the world. And they did the same thing. They got this grant, and then they worked with this institute, these scientists, to kind of come up with a new way of manufacturing wool so it can be super breathable. You won't have to wear socks and use them in sort of a shoe context. So, I mean, that's what I was thinking about when you were talking about this. But, I mean, what an amazing resource. Yeah. and kudos to just, I mean, this is like anyone listening at home, you want to try something, send that email. Don't sit on it, because you never know who's going to respond. But what an amazing experience. So tell us a little bit about, so it sounds like this was a long process to get to where we are today, but was it 2 years from when you got this idea, or was it longer?
I mean, the idea came to me in the summer of 2020, and I started reaching out to them, and toying with the idea the following year. And then, so it's been in July, it'll be exactly 3 years when the idea came to me to product to market. Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
And when you were getting those first, I mean, the resources and the support network that you had through the government agency seems like top notch. Like that's like Nike level stuff. It sounds like that you're working with. How soon, when you got kind of the prototype state, did it kind of click and you're like, oh man, I think we really got something here that women are going to be excited about?
No, the first prototypes were horrific. They were
terrible.
Now I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness. I can't even believe we sent these to our swim runners. So we had a group of swim runners testing the product. Annie was one of them.
Oh yeah.
And we had several versions. I think at the beginning we actually had 3 different versions. And it was quickly becoming clear that one version of this bra would be the one we should choose. And it happened to be serendipitously that there was a pocket, because we had a double layer bra construction. So one of the differentiating features of the bra, which is something we've now filed a patent for, is the under bust band. So under your breast, there's the elastic band that runs around. Mm-hmm. And they tend to be really tight. So when you have a sports bra on all day, you notice it because your rib cage has to press up against it in order for you to breathe. And when you take it off, you're like, oh, that feels good. I can breathe again, Yeah. And so we were able to figure out with a new kind of technology that we could make that, stabilize it, and also not soak up water, because those elastic bands get wet and they never dry. It takes days, actually. So we were able to invent this new piece of the bra that I absolutely love that myself. And so I think that's one of the things we're hearing about the bra, is that it's so comfortable.
Yeah,
And
'cause
yeah,
have a
and we
belt
had
tightened across your chest, feels like.
exactly,
Probably. Yeah.
exactly. So, and the other benefit that I had is that I wear it all the time to all sports. I don't just wear it when I swim run. Is that, when you're swimming, like if you look at how a bathing suit is constructed, you need freedom of movement for your arms. And so swimsuits tend to be like competitive swimsuits that really use, not just bikini, but they have a nice cutout for your arms so that you can do the crawl. And so that has been really helpful because now I can tell when I'm working out that I have this freedom of movement that I need in all sports. So cross-country skiing, for example, it's perfect for that because I can move my arms freely and there's nothing digging in on the side.
Yeah.
But the technique, so it's a stitchless bra, right? We made it without sewing machines. It's made through the process of ultrasonic welding and bonding. And basically has to be handmade and it takes 4 hours.
Let's just make sure we pause on that one. So to make one bra, the process takes 4 hours. I mean, this is like a very, this is
craftsmanship.
Yeah, this is advanced.
Yes, and that was really also tricky. We had to find a manufacturer who could produce this bra and have the technology and the resources to be able to do that. And so we were working with the bonding companies, even the machine companies at points to help make sure that we could do this because it's really techy, right? It doesn't really look it, but when you wear it, you realize, okay, there's something going on here that's really different from a regular sports bra. So, the amount of craftsmanship that goes into this bra, it's made in Abruzzo, Italy, sort of halfway down the boot on the same level as Rome, other side. That's where it's made. Oh, wow. And they have all the machinery that's necessary. Sorry.
Yeah. Amazing. Wow. Amazing. And it's, and you guys are, I know you're applying for B Corp certification, but can you tell us a little bit about is there a commitment to sustainability, to, being woke in terms of that stuff?
I'm so glad you asked about that. That was super important the entire time we were looking at how to build the company. I just felt like in all the literature that I read, and I kept hearing about B Corp, and I thought this is exactly how I want to build this. So we're applying now, in the process of getting it, and I wanted the smallest carbon footprint possible for the product. So it's locally sourced. And for example, the textile manufacturer invests heavily in water reduction, waste reduction, solar panels, social programs for their employees. Same thing with the clothing manufacturer. I wanted to make sure that they are ISO certified, that they don't just pay minimum but livable wages. I had to go see the factories myself, read their sustainability reports. So that was important. And our carbon footprint for this bra is so tiny because it's every single, even there's a tiny thread it's called a bar tack in the product that is all made in Europe. And we really looked for the finest materials. We wanted to make sure that our end consumers had a durable product, like that one bra you buy and you love it forever. And so we're actually offering a repair program for consumers when, if there's a tear in the bra, they should send it back, that we can repair it. We have a partnership too with Avery Dennison. They're giving us, we have a digital care label in the product. And so end consumers can scan the bra and they can read everything from the care instructions to complete supply chain transparency.
Wow.
I just wanted the consumer to be like, okay, where is this made? Who makes it? What conditions? What's the quality of this product? And to have more insight and not be so scared because we never know what we're buying.
I love the focus on that, and you're doing it the right way.
Totally. Yeah, Claudia. I think Chipper works in digital marketing. I work in operations, and, a lot of people talk a big game, but the fact, it's just really impressive to see that this is a great idea, but ideas are cheap. We mentioned that on the show on the time, anyone can come up with great ideas, but actually bringing it to life is I mean, it's super hard to do. So kudos on that. But you're just not limited to bras, which sounds amazing. But you also have a couple other products. So why don't we talk a little bit about the sort of the design process for the shorts and the brief?
Okay. Right. So we co-developed all product with the swim runners and with a few triathletes here in Switzerland who also swim run. And what we wanted to have, one thing that swim runners really wanted was matching bottoms, so that if they were to take their wetsuit off, they'd have a complete set on. So again, using this stitch-free product with bonding, we made the bottoms. We made this pair is high-waisted just because it gives you more coverage, but in nude, we're gonna develop some that are a little bit low-waisted. Some women prefer that, we found out. And the biker shorts were important to me because in the summer, I don't need to wear a wetsuit to go swim run. I don't want to, it's too hot. So I thought, okay, we need a biker short, but these biker shorts are constructed differently. So we have an Italian designer. She's a professor at the Istituto Maragoni, and she's really talented, and she's worked with many luxury brands, which it was important to me that it had something elegant and beautiful because bras tend to be so utilitarian. And I want a woman to be like, okay, I'm going to wear this bra with this biker short, run down to the lake, take a swim, and then on my way home, I'm going to swing by the grocery store and I can walk right in. And that's what I want to be able to do. So that's why the biker short is constructed so that there's no seam running down through the legs of a woman because that's uncomfortable. And she can wear the biker shorts. She should wear the flying commando and have complete freedom and comfort. So that's why we've designed them this way. If you look really closely at the pictures, you'll see how it's constructed differently from traditional biker shorts.
Yeah. I mean, everything. I mean, from what we've seen on social media, I mean, it looks really slick and really, just really nice.
When you were working on the bra product, how soon did the bottom parts sort of come into the picture for you, or was it how did that ideation come, or was it kind of always you're like, oh, I need a matching set sort of thing, but let me knock the bra out first?
No, it was from the beginning. We designed it as a set. Even the first drawings that we had from the designer were for the set. And they were actually two colors. It was so beautiful. It was like a light blue and a dark blue. But we quickly realized how complex it was even to bring color this early into the picture. And many women prefer black. So we went with black. But I can't wait to grow it into having prints and colors and making it a little more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, are we?
I hear you.
Oh, you hear me? Okay, sorry. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's interesting. Swimrun tends to be like everything very black.
Yeah,
but color's good.
Definitely,
color's good. Now, does that change? I guess when you're using these special materials, are you thinking that okay, so maybe color is the next evolution of this, but looking down the road, I mean, you've just launched, so let's not think 5-10 years down the road, but are there other products, whether swimrun specific or endurance specific, that you are already thinking should exist that don't?
One prototype we're working on right now is this beautiful t-shirt that's made out of the lightest weight material I think I've ever held in my hands. And when I held it, I thought this has to be a t-shirt because it's a little bit translucent, but gives you some coverage. And because it weighs 80 grams a meter, it means nothing. You can tuck it into the pocket of the bra while you're swimming. Like you really could do that. And I thought, okay, we have to bring this one to market. This is going to be a fun little extra to have. Yeah, but in terms of the vision of the company, I think, we're developing a new bra right now for bigger breast sizes because the bra that you see out right now is a compression bra. But for women with bigger breast sizes, they need a completely different construction of bra. And so we're developing that one right now, which is really exciting and lots of work and lots of prototype iterations. And I think one thing that we're trying to do as well that we're continue to develop down this road and offer sort of performance wear that it goes back to the transition Like, I think so much about the transition in swim run between land and water, and just sort of how many transitions women undergo every single day of their lives, and how nice it would be to have the one outfit you put on that's really comfortable, allows you to move, has the breathability of sportswear, but looks beautiful and makes you feel like you could wear this to 5 engagements in the day. You wear it to sports, and then you wear it to lunch with your friends, and maybe to pick up your kids, or even to sit down and have a Zoom meeting. And then the other important element, I think, yes, innovation is at the heart of it, that it be beautifully made, beautifully tailored. That's the second part of it. And the third part for me is really the sustainability aspect. And I feel like the most important part of the most exciting thing for me right now is that we have this textile. It's not far from my house. A Swiss company is now able to, through enzymatic recycling, break apart the product. So you basically have proteins that, or enzymes that break down the swim runner into like building blocks for virgin quality materials. And then you can use that as feedstock to make new materials. And I think this is like a first sort of the big dream that I'm scared to say out loud, but I want it happening so bad, is that to become the first circular performance brand in Switzerland. And it's hard to do, and they're optimizing the enzymes, and they give us feedback, and we get really hopeful, because ultimately what that means is that at the end of its life, a swim runner can return the product to us, and we can put it back into the cycle.
Yeah.
Wow.
And make new product from it, make it circular, right? And I think that's sort of where it needs to go now in terms of clothing and fashion.
It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, and that also kind of has me thinking in terms of like scalability. I mean, from what I know about breasts, which obviously isn't as much as females, is, they come in all shapes and sizes, right? So when you are trying to make sure this fits comfortably, every woman is going to have slightly different shapes. So how are you going to manage having enough sort of SKUs to fit as many people as possible while trying to stay, as green as possible, as sustainable as possible, without just having, a bunch of products out there that might have limited applicability based on individual body types?
Right. This is a really good question. And part of it is you always, compromising is really hard for me when I know that perfection is out there, right? Then I want that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we're coming to realize now is that this new bra that is developed for bigger breast women is going to have to probably be sold not in alpha sizes, so not small, medium, large, like typically sports bras are, but in order to really be the perfect sports bra for them, they will buy it specific to their bra size. So maybe instead of 5, maybe we have 12 sizes. And you're absolutely right. That's something that, more SKUs is dangerous. You don't want to sit on product. You want to make sure all of it sells. And those are decisions we have to make. But I think it's always sort of been our philosophy to provide the highest quality, best fitting product we can.
Yeah.
Love it.
I mean,
because it has to function. Yeah. Sorry.
And I see on your site as well, you offer a 30-day trial of your product. And I think, obviously, if you're listening to this interview, you can really hear just your confidence and how well it's going to perform and your passion for it. Talk us a little bit through the 30-day trial, because I mean, definitely I don't buy sports bras that often, but it does seem like it's a little bit of it's more of a premium product, obviously, and there's a lot that goes into it, as you've shared. It's very innovative and transparent, and so the 30-day trial, talk us through a little bit about how that came up for you, because that seems like a really smart option.
It's really interesting too that you brought that up, because it's tricky, right? Like, it's an expensive product, and we can't produce it any other way. It has to be handmade this way. Mm-hmm. and we're also making sure that the quality of the materials of this bra are such that they last a long time. It should be durable. It should be your favorite. There was never an intention to make this a premium product by any means, but I think, if I look at all of my sports equipment that I use to go skiing or ski touring, if I want it to perform well, I realize there's a price that's attached to that. And that's because these companies are using high quality materials that perform. And there's just so much, there's a limit to what's possible or impossible. And there's just not a bra on the market that's entirely bonded like this, possibly because people are worried that the price point is new. It's a new experience for a woman to probably see that. And I want women to be able to wear it and understand it. I think it's really hard too. On the line, you see a picture of the bra, but until you wear it, you don't even understand it. So it takes 3 swim runs to activate the product. First of all, when you put it on, it's going to feel tight, a size too small. And then you run and you swim and you run and swim, and suddenly the bra starts, there's a magical moment where you realize, oh, this bra is mine now, because it molds itself to your unique body shape. And,
wow.
So I want women to be able to just trust me, try it. There's no risk involved. We can give it to you. You can wear it for an entire month. And then if you really don't like it, if you don't think it's worth it, please send it back. I'm this confident about it,
Love it.
Well, I mean, that enthusiasm and that confidence, I think, it speaks for itself. And I think that the price point, I mean, I didn't understand the price point until having this conversation. I mean, yes, when Annie tells us it's awesome and it's a premium product, it's great. But the way you're describing it, I mean, to me, it's like, okay, if this is the only bra that I'm going to need for the foreseeable future, and it looks good, it feels good, and it checks off all these boxes, on some level, I mean, that price point, it almost seems like it's too low. If you're just kind of like, okay, this one thing that's been a huge hassle and something I've had to deal with for years, that box is now completely checked off and I don't have to worry about it. I mean, maybe that's just the way I'm wired, but to me, like, hey, I don't have to worry about this anymore. To me, that seems worth it. And I think the commitment to quality, the commitment to sustainability, to paying people, appropriate wages, sustainable wages. I mean, it's just also great. And this is turning into like a love fest, so I'm sorry, but it's just so amazing.
Thank you so much. This is really nice to hear, because we've been working for so long. You work on some sort of dream for 2 years of what you want it to be. And then there's this moment where the dream turns into reality because you've reached the moment where you have to release it, right? And you don't know what is it going to be like when these women wear it. What is their feedback going to be? And suppose kind of like for when an author releases the book, it's done. But we're getting such great feedback about it, and Sabina Rapelli just competes in it now all the time and wears it only. And she keeps saying, paddles cost $150. This is equipment. This is actually not just clothing. It's equipment. It's really necessary. And if more women could try it. So at Uto on Saturday, the week after next, we're going to have the opportunity for women to go and try it out, to touch it, put it on, and to work and even go take it swim running. So we're gonna provide those. So I would encourage women to go and look at them there and take them for a swim run.
Should be an easy sell for you, I think, once they get that in. So if you're at Attila Uta here in a week or two, go check out, try it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Report back.
For sure. Now, I'm going to ask this for the fellas out there. Do you have any ideas on products for men, whether it's like a compression top or something like that, or briefs for men that could sort of serve similar functions?
A lot of men have been asking me if I would please also bring some kind of a running short to market for them. that allows them to also just run down to the lake and swim and come back home. And so definitely that's something we want to do. It's not that we want to be exclusive to women. And
Sure.
And absolutely, I think for swimrun too, that there's something that, is really going to be very comfortable for men to wear. And also when they don't want to wear a wetsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and not that there's enough stuff for men out there. I think Annie will be the first to complain about the whole shrink it and pink it mentality, and she probably told you the same thing, right? And sort of these large brands is like, oh yeah, just shrink it and pink it, and then raise the price.
There's a women's version, yeah,
and people will buy it. So not that Swijin needs to be all things for all people, but the technology sounds so amazing, and there's. To me, there would seem to be, like, as you mentioned, some application for products for men. So it's cool that you're thinking about that way, just as another way of diversifying and trying to make this entire enterprise, more sustainable. Which sounds amazing. And yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see how the sport takes to it, because as I'm sure you're aware, swimrun is it's still a super young sport. It's still kind of the Wild West in terms of what works. Innovation is happening all the time, whether it's carbon fiber swim paddles or now, chemically bonded materials that you can wear that mold to your body over time. I mean, it's amazing. So the future is really interesting. And I think this is less of a question and more of a statement. Like I think it's super cool for this, for Swijin to be kind of like part of this now and part of this innovation as the sport continues to develop and grow. And it's just so awesome.
Thank you so much. That's really nice to hear. And I'm really enjoying watching it grow. I feel like this year you're seeing a real, I think after the pandemic, people were still very careful, but now I feel like everyone is, that the sport's really going to see sort of a hockey stick in growth very soon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So there's one more question I wanted to ask. Switzerland is an amazing place. There are tons of bodies of water. What do we need to do to bring more swim runs to Switzerland, in your opinion? There's so many. There are Swiss swim runners, and there's quite a nice little group locally now that's starting to. There's individuals who are looking at. I think we need to establish a swim run community here as a group, and it's interesting because it's such a perfect sport for this country, right? It's made for swim run, and a lot of people sort of practice it without realizing it. Especially even, a lot of people go hiking and then they like to go swim in the lakes, in the mountain lakes. So it's sort of, trail running is a big deal here. And or mountain trail running. And I think that, I don't know, maybe new products will also bring new people to the sport. I'm not sure. Like if you have the ability to do it, to practice the sport because now you're outfitted, maybe that also is a bigger drawing. Yeah.
But we're trying to get it out into the media more and more. So hopefully, yeah. And I just met, I just went on a beautiful swim run this morning on Lake Zurich with Ben Tiesmeyer, who's going to be competing with another Swiss woman actually in Uto. So, they're here. He's training swim runners.
Nice.
Yeah. For sure.
He said, I want, I think it's his mission he said to me, it's my mission. The village he lives in is Wädenswil. And he says, I want it to say, when you drive into the village, it should say Wädenswil, home of swimrun Switzerland. I'm like, I'll help you. So it was really nice to be out with him today. Felt like,
love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Claudia, we've tremendously enjoyed hearing your story and your journey from the first run and then dip in the water where the idea was born. And then now you have 3 SKUs on Swijin.com, SWIJIN.com. Really incredible. And it's impossible not to be rooting for you and cheering for your success.
I really appreciate the time, Chipper and Chris, that you took. It was so much fun. It's so much fun to talk to the company about people who are excited by it. So I had a really lovely hour of my day with you. Thank you.
Oh, well, yeah. And of course, if this is sounding like magic or music to your ears, head on over to swijin.com, SWIJIN.com. They're free shipping, free returns, not only to Switzerland, but to the EU and the UK. So you can get your set, your briefs, or your shorts and your bra, 30-day trial. Seems like a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Aw, thank you. Thank you both.
But hopefully we'll see you out at Attila World Championship this year, potentially in Sweden if you make it over.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you guys are coming over again. That's good to know.
Yeah.
You're going to be there. Excellent.
We will be there.
One way or another.
Yeah.
Cool.
I look forward to meeting you both in person.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time. Best of luck. And we'll start, sharing the good word about this amazing company. So thank you so much for taking the time.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take
care.
And
have a good rest of the day, guys. Bye.
Thank you. You too. That's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a rating or review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Check out our website, lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z, for swimrun resources, including gear guides, tips, how-to videos, and so much more. Make sure to check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, send us a DM or email us at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swim run and other activities.
Lots of activities.
Lots of activities.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Then a run.
And then a swim.
Then another run.
Then another swim.
Then run some more.
Just keep going.
Let's go.
And then stop at some point because,
And fuel. Don't forget to fuel.
Gotta fuel too.
Of course, yes.